Warning, this video contains some heavy subjects which may be triggering to some sensitive viewers. All those subjects include the topics of drug usage, animal abuse, homophobia, racism, violence, self-harm, suicide, kidnapping, cannibalism, torture, terrorism, SA, and murder. Please watch at your own risk.
What the fuck? Hey! What the fuck? Hello? What the fuck? Where am I? The fuck? Oh my god, it's so hot. Oh, hello? Hello? Oh my fucking coughing, what the fuck? Oh my balls are sweating. What the fuck? Am I in a fucking, like, cupboard or some hello? Oh! Oh. Hello, everyone! You might be wondering, guys, why are we wearing a brown coat? Why are we so pink? Why the fuck do we look so pink? Okay, the answer to that is simple, guys. Okay, today we're going to be looking at none other than please keep in mind, if I miss any big events out, okay? I'm not an expert on heavy metal. I want to make a YouTube video. I'm sorry, like, I want to make a YouTube video, okay? Sue me. Sue me, okay? Cancel me.
Bro, I fucking don't give a fuck, alright?
If I get anything incorrect, don't come to my comments rushing. Actually, you can come rushing to my comments. Don't be like, be like, actually. Don't be like, be like, actually, like, you know. No. We're gonna start, okay? I've labeled them all. We've got light shit, dangerous antics, occultism, terrorism, disturbing stage antics, evil antics, and death. And last but not least, I must warn you, this does get progressively worse. I've not created this iceberg in terms of how underground or how unknown these events are, more how bad they are, how morally bad they are. And some of those things might be controversial, as you'll see on the list, because obviously heavy metal and religion do seem to coincide. Keep in mind, I'm not really religious. Let's start first with light shit. Things I'm sure a lot of you have heard of if you're into heavy metal, or maybe even have heard of if you're not into heavy metal, okay? The gnomes versus knights trend on TikTok. This is just where some guy called Crawley made a video on TikTok where he would dress up as a gnome and wander into a shopping mall or an H&M or something and just start bothering people there. I think it's super funny. You might be asking, what does this have to do with heavy metal? Okay, well apparently he's the Grouse and Kite song. Whenever heavy metal or anything is brought up in like big media, there's always some like little cretin online who's gonna complain about it. Grouse and Kite is not underground for black metal standards, okay? All I'm saying is, can we just take the win, guys? Can we just take the win and realize that maybe Dungeon Synth isn't as underground as we think? Okay, can we take the win and just appreciate the fact that a big creator has used Dungeon Synth to create funny, entertaining content? Or at least, I mean, I have brain rot, so maybe this is not actually entertaining, but like, the fall off of Chris Barnes, pretty self-explanatory. Essentially, he went from having a voice like this to having a voice like this.
Experimental ferment is a devil's design. The dark.
Yeah, I don't know, what was it, age? What was it, depression, midlife crisis? I don't know, but he sounds like, what is that? Thulian perspective. Now, this follows the character of a man called Varg Vikernes, okay, which we will get into, don't worry. But essentially, he's been on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. His YouTube was taken down, I think, not really recently, but maybe 2 years ago, for spreading old German antics, let's just say. So obviously they took him down because he's a literal... He went on to make a board game, like a fantasy board game, because we gotta remember, all of these black metal enthusiasts are actually just massive nerds. You realize? I think Varg is even... It was named after some Lord of the Rings orc, okay? We gotta remember, these guys were just nerds. We go a bit deeper. That was just the sky above the iceberg. Now we get to the top of the iceberg, right? The Slipknot tail rumor. What this is essentially a member of Slipknot, I think, found a beaver or was given a beaver tail. Corey Taylor and Clown from Slipknot allegedly squeezed the juice from the tail onto their faces before performing. I don't know what they snorted before doing that. Why the fuck would... There was no reason for them to do that anyway. On a second note, Clown, again, for some reason, collected a dead bird off the street and put it in a jar and took it with him wherever he went. Allegedly, and this is what I've heard, but allegedly it was rumored that he threw it into the crowd and the crowd ate it. Next up, the Ozzy Osbourne bat incident. We all know this one. People who don't know heavy metal most likely know this one, okay? Ozzy Osbourne allegedly bit the head off of a bat. Rumor has it that someone threw what he thought was a rubber bat or a toy on stage. He proceeded to put it in his mouth and rip the head off, thinking it was a false or a prop or something. Turns out to be a real head of a bat. A real bat. What I didn't put here, which I'm now just thinking of, was the Motley Crue chicken, which is basically just, they threw a chicken into the crowd and the crowd tore it apart. A live chicken. Now we're getting a bit deeper, we're going into some dangerous antics. That was corny as hell, I'm never doing that again. Ronnie Radke, lead singer of a band called Falling in Reverse. One of the instances which happened with Ronnie Radke, the only one I can think of at the top of my head, he got into a gang fight, essentially. Not really a gang fight, but a brawl, okay, with him and his friends versus them and their friends. Don't ask me who them was, I don't know. One of his friends killed a guy in that fight. He was involved with it. He did, I think he did some jail time at one point. Bit of a sketchy character, very controversial character. At one point threatened to fight the entirety of Sanguisugabog, which was so pointless. They all look like little Clash of Clans characters. Ronnie, they would kick your ass. You're skinny as fuck. I'm sorry. Gorgoroth's 80 liters of sheep's blood. Gorgoroth is a black metal band in their performance in Krakow in Poland, right? I don't know how long ago this was. I'm not Google. I don't know. I put this here. Half this shit, I don't even remember it until I read it, okay? The 80 liters of sheep's blood controversy. This took place in Poland, right? Keep in mind, Poland is a very religious country. Gorgoroth, not so much. A sub-problem to do with this is that they couldn't have a sort of any sort of anti-religious imagery or anything like that, because apparently that's hateful in Poland. I'm not gonna be the judge of that. I don't really care. Makes sense, but also doesn't make sense to me. You might be thinking, this is pretty standard for sort of black metal acts, right? Why is this? What makes this any different? It was in Poland, okay? A very religious country. They saw this as some sort of anti-religious sort of act or some sort of animal cruelty act, and they didn't like it, and they got in a lot of trouble with it. Gibby Haynes from the Butthole Surfers. I could yap about the Butthole Surfers forever. They are literally one of my favorite bands of all time. Essentially what he would do is he was a bit dangerous, he was a bit cuckoo, what he would do is throw glass bottles above the crowd like they were Molotov cocktails. They weren't, they were just empty glass bottles. But what he would then do was try to shoot them with shotgun. There's videos of this on YouTube. It doesn't look super crazy to me, but then again, glass falling down on you while you're at a concert, you know, you can see why that's a problem. From Hanatarash. If you don't know Hanatarash, they are like a noise punk band, I guess, from Japan. The cat incident is basically where they found a dead cat and they sawed it in half on stage. It was a dead cat already. Animal abuse is obviously not chill, but it was dead, but it's still not chill. Like, okay, whatever. The same guy from Hanatarash, I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's a Japanese band. It might not even mean anything in Japanese. He drove through the venue wall with an excavator. As far as I know, no one was hurt except for himself. Gigi Allen. You all know Gigi Allen, right? He was a very interesting punk sort of character in New York. Apparently he grew up in the woods with his brother Merle Allen. He had to run away from his abusive father with his mother, and then when he was in the city he got into punk with his brother. Like, absolutely insane story, right? Grew up in a cabin in the woods with no electricity, no running water, like Mormons. Then went to the city and became one of the most infamous punks ever. What the hell? Why is he here? Oral sex, self-harm, self-mutilation, all kinds of crazy antics, drinking blood on stage. Crazy stuff happening at these events. Died of a drug overdose. Massive sort of punk name. Seth Putnam. Controversial topic. Very, very addicted to drugs. Was part of a band called Anal Cunt, which was a grindcore band which aims to completely to just provoke everyone who heard their music. I don't think he meant a lot of what he said, regardless of whether he meant it or not. What he said did offend people, and it did cause controversy, and that's what's real. Whether he meant it or not doesn't matter. The things he said is like not okay. It's very not okay. I don't blame people for thinking he was a bad person. I think he was a bad person. He was obviously a disturbed individual on a lot of drugs. Some people say he was an absolute asshole and they never wanted to be near him. Understandably, those who were closer to him, you know, his band members and such, would just say he seemed like a normal guy, but he was extremely disturbed and extremely addicted to drugs. This guy was so controversial that people in the scene at the time interviewed about his death would say, I have no remorse, I don't care that he died, or I'm glad that he died. Loads of violent acts on stage, very transphobic, would start fights at venues. At one point swung a microphone at a lady in the crowd, cut her head open. and got beat up by a bunch of people. Again, from Hanatarash, we cannot get away from this dude. More violence, essentially, at his extreme shows. He would throw sheets of glass over the crowd. Clearly a sort of Gigi Allen, Seth Putnam type character, where it was most likely a combination of him just being mentally ill and on drugs. Now we get into the more sort of darker side of things, right? Which includes occultism, terrorism. Whoa. Hold your horses, buddy. I'm very sorry to do this, right? But I've just spent like 2 or 3 hours editing. We're 10 minutes into the video and I still have 50 more minutes to edit. I will be making a part 2, but I'm gonna have to upload it in 2 sections because my MacBook like literally cannot handle it. But yeah, guys, we're gonna end the video here. I'm gonna upload the next one pretty soon. Don't worry, it will be coming out. It will just be coming out when my MacBook can handle, you know, putting it out because I've got storage problems, this, that, the other. iCloud fucking sucks. So yeah, anyway, thanks guys for watching.